people, except it's not the afternoon, it's evening. So good evening to you all as well. Welcome back to Spill the Tea Lou. I hope we are all good and well and good. I have seen, we have Rob, we have Flossie, we have Streets, we have Jim, we have lovely Luke, we have... everybody saying hi. So big up to everybody. Street says, and we're live. And yes, we are. Big up to everybody. I'm more or less on time. Big up to Guess. Guess, I have sent you a picture of my banana bread. I need a baker's opinion. Go and tell me if it's nice. It tasted good. It tasted good. Guys, I've been baking today. Oh, there she is. I could hear the cat moving underneath me. I was like, what is she going to crash into? Remember I told you my cats are disabled, they can't walk and they bang into things. So I was like, please just don't knock the camera over. If she does, don't worry people, I will rescue you from the floor. But big up also to Neil and welcome back. JT is here reporting for duty and the lovely Kate has joined in. Don't you worry Kate, we're not going to be talking about Spurs. Thank you, JT. Good topic choice once again. Do you know what it is, JT? I get bored of talking about the same stuff all the time. I get bored when I'm listening to YouTube because as I'm pottering about my house, baking my banana bread, cleaning my house, doing laundry, sorting the cats, I get bored of listening to the same topics over and over again on every single football channel. Obviously, there are things we will all talk about because they're very important in our league and they can't be ignored. However, another one that is flying under the radar and I only found out about maybe an hour ago. So we're going to discover it together, people, except JT, who clearly already knew about it. Big up to Harold, who says, hello, in the house very early tonight. Well, wonderful timing, Harold, because we are all here. Now, guys, before we get into the topic, which is the FVS, not the VAR, and the EFL. Oh my goodness me, we're talking about all the letters. First of all, because we do have football coming up this evening, we are going to be watching that football this evening, of course. So we will be here probably until about, I would say, please work, about until maybe 7:45, give or take. So everybody has time to get ready for the football this evening, which is Brighton versus Chelsea. I did see Streets saying earlier on he is on Baleba watch. So let me just read out the lineups to you and then we will get stuck into this evening's topic, which, as JT says, is an interesting one. Absolutely verified. There we go. Now, Brighton's lineup is Verbruggen, who had an interesting match the other day. Was it Saturday morning they played with that? Were they the half-12 game? He did make an interesting mistake in that match, but he is there. They have also said, by the way, just while we're on the topic of Brighton, they are saying if Bart Verbruggen doesn't stay at Brighton next season, they would be very interested in bringing in James Trafford from Manchester City as their number one. James Trafford obviously was brought in originally to be Manchester City's new number one goalkeeper. They then bought Donnarumma. He moved to second choice. He was prepared to play all the first team minutes. He's now not getting that. There was rumours he might want to move away. Now there's rumours, and again, it's all rumours, but since we're talking about it, that if Verbruggen moves on from Brighton, they would then be interested in Trafford. The thing is, would Trafford be interested in them? Because he would have to reconcile the fact that he had come in thinking he was going to be Manchester City's number one to maybe being Brighton's number one. Very, very, very interesting. And I'm sure there are other teams who maybe don't have very good goalkeepers that would also be very interested in James Trafford. But let's go back to the lineup. We took a real detour there, but we're back, sort of, because this is still a detour. We took a detour to the detour. Guess is confirming that my banana bread looks good. Let me see, can I get this picture up on the screen? Let me see. Now, I would just like to note, I am not a trained baker. Can I show you guys this? Let me see. You're probably not going to get a good look at it. That is my banana bread that I made today. Very proud. It was very tasty. I was a little bit bold. I put some white chocolate chips in the middle of it. It was good. I ate some while it was still warm. It was tasty. What you just got was a picture of my screen with loads of fingerprints all over it. Hopefully you got to make out the cake in the tray. But back to the lineup. Guys, stop distracting me. I'm trying to run a show. I have not been drinking. I would just like to let everyone know I have not had any alcohol today. Yes, James Trafford is a very good keeper. Thank you for bringing us back to the football. For those of you that have joined us in the last number of days, the very nice people that have come across from both Rich's and other channels, obviously we had Mohammed became a Tea Titan with us as well, and he came across from MHF and Mo and Sam's channels. So big up to everybody. Everybody's saying the cake looks good. It tasted good. It tasted good. Neil is going to be watching Coventry City and Portsmouth. Big up to Neil. Right, guys, I promise we're going to talk about football. That's what I was going to say. For the people that have recently joined the channel and become a part of the teacup party, the Mad Hatters Tea Party, that is because we are mad. We are mad. We do go slightly off topic, but then we always veer back on. We have a good old time, so we do. We have a good old time. Buggeroo. Sorry, guys. Hold on. I forgot to send my predictions to Dibs. Right. Guys, what do we think is going to happen? I need to send this to Dibs right now this minute because I forgot about it. Brighton, Chelsea, score predictions in the chat. Let's go. And then I'm going to read the lineups. No, let me read the lineups while you're doing score predictions. And then we'll talk about the actual topic of the video because I need to send this to Dibs before the match kicks off. Thank God he reminded me because I forgot because I was baking. JT says, I would be very surprised if Chelsea look good or win. That's good enough for me. Right, I'm going to read the lineups. For Bruggen, Weaver, Van Heck, Boskagli, Kadioglu, Gross, Baleba, Minte, Hinchelwood, Mitoma, Rusher. Obviously, Mitoma had that fantastic goal in their last match. Then for Chelsea, Sanchez, Hato, Fofana, Chalobah, Cucurella, Lavia, Caicedo with his new up-to-date contract, Gusto, Enzo Fernandez, Liam Delap and Neto. So guys, yous are saying JT reckons 3-2 Brighton, Streets reckons 2-2, Rob reckons 2-1 Brighton, Kate reckons 2-1 Brighton. Okay, Dibs, we are saying 2-1 to Brighton, and I'm going to send you the rest after the stream because I forgot. Sauce friend will send rest after the stream. Okay, thanks guys. If we get that right, it was a team effort. Thank you very much, guys. JT says, any info on what's up with Palmer? Do you know what? Let's talk about that for a second. We're probably going to do maybe a little bit more in depth on that because there's so many things that need to be spoken about with Chelsea, so many things, their financial issues, all his comments. But what I will just say, because I might do that tomorrow lunchtime, like go really in depth into that. But there's more to the quote. So a quote came out basically where he said, you know, I'm committed to Chelsea. I don't really miss Manchester. I just miss my family. When I go home to see them, I remember why basically I moved away from Manchester. That's how I felt for a long time. When you grow up and you move away from home and then you go back home and you're like, oh, this is why I wanted to leave in the first place. I understand that. When he said it, I was like, oh, that's how I felt as a college student. And to be fair, you know, he's not that much older than I was at college. So I did understand. But there's more to those quotes where he said, essentially, if they don't get Champions League football, everything changes. That changes everything, which obviously just undoes all the other words he just said because there's a chance they're not going to get Champions League football, which was just completely crazy. And yes, JT, on paper, Delap and Neto as a front two. I mean, it's going to be interesting if nothing else. Rich is in the house. Big up to Rich. United TV says, I think rolling the dice might be better than VAR. I mean, I agree with that. It probably would. And yes, Streets, as it stands, they believe they're listed here as playing as a front two. So let me just do this for a second so you can see it. So there you go. This is Chelsea on the right-hand side, and the way they have it posted, and it might not turn out to be like that on the pitch, but as it's posted, it does look like a front two for Chelsea. So JT hasn't cooked that one up by himself, to be fair. But guys, because to be fair, we're going to talk all about Chelsea and Brighton tomorrow after this match. So tomorrow lunchtime, we're going to talk about this match. We'll do a match reaction to this match. We'll talk about their sort of financial situation. We'll go really in depth into Cole Palmer's comments. So we're going to do a full show on that tomorrow lunchtime, 12 o'clock. However, Jim is saying the United Stand thumbnail says deal off Wilcox snubs Nagelsmann. If he's put a question mark in front of it, that's not real. Because when they put a question mark in front of it, it's always, well, we're just asking the question. So I'd want to watch the show first, Jim, before I pass comment. But I would say that is more of a maybe. But yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting match. I don't want to miss it at all. Guys, we might come back to that if we've time at the end of the show. We might come back to the lineup. But or do you know what? I will let you guys decide. No, I'm not letting you guys decide. I'm sorry, tonight it's Lewocracy because I've just had a thought and I can't tell you about it. But today is Tuesday. So tomorrow, 12 o'clock, we're going to be here. We're going to do the Chelsea show, a reaction and all of this talk. 3 o'clock tomorrow, guys, I am going to be on with Sal on the United post. So I will share a link for that tomorrow on the channel. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow at the 12 o'clock show as well. But yes, that's what I'm just thinking, JT. Time is scarce. We don't have a lot of time, and there's so many things to talk about. This is what I mean. I could literally do a 24-hour stream and we would not run out of things to talk about. We would not. We could talk for 24 hours and there would be so many things to talk about. So we will talk about them all. They just will not all be in this stream before 8 o'clock. Let's do what it says in the title. We will try and have some sort of order, and then we'll circle back if we need to. Harold very strongly does not want Nagelsmann. He says absolutely no. Stretford Post, yes. What did I say, JT? What did I say? Yes, Stretford Post. What did I say? I want to know what I said now. Hello to Andrew, the Liverpool fan, not the Chelsea fan in the chat. But guys, in the title of the video, 12 minutes into the video, could FVS be better than VAR? Oh, did I say the United Post? My bad. Yes, I did mean the Stretford Post. Oh dear. Yes, thank you for that, JT, because I genuinely thought I said the Stretford Post. Yes, but I will be on with Sal tomorrow, having a little chinwag. So tomorrow by the 12 p.m. show, I will have the link for you guys because that will be at 3 o'clock. So you'll be able to go and have a cup of tea after the 12 o'clock show and then, check in if you want. Right. But I suppose the primary question that my title poses is, what in the name of bejesus is FVS? JT says, just wasn't sure if there's another channel. No, you were right, JT. No, 100% yes. Stretford Post. Isn't that terrible? Isn't it terrible the way my mouth said that word and my brain was not aware of it? But yes, Harold with the key question, what is FVS? So, the FVS is a video replay system that reviews key officiating calls. It requires head coaches to give a card to the fourth official to signal their intent to challenge a decision, which I think sounds much better than VAR. So, this is from The Athletic. Let me share this with you guys. I'm going to put it in the live chat. I'm also going to put it in the description of the video. So after the stream, you guys will be able to go and have a look. So this is the FVS article. article. That is not how you... There's no V in the word article. Just in case anybody was wondering, there is definitely no V in the word article. FVS article by The Athletic. Okay, there's the link. Save her up. Okay, so English Football League, which encompasses the 3 leagues that are underneath the Premier League. So the English Football League includes the Championship, League 1 and League 2, okay? So the English Football League clubs have rejected new video assistant referee proposals that would allow head coaches to challenge decisions made on the pitch by brandishing a review card. At a recent meeting of EFL clubs, the Professional Game Match Officials Limited, the PGMOL, the organisation responsible for professional refereeing in England, demonstrated how the Football Video System, FVS, works. And that's where they explain what it is. The FVS is a video replay system that reviews key officiating calls, and it requires that head coaches give a card to the 4th official to signal their intent to challenge the decision. And this here is the important part that I like. Unlike the VAR system, the FVS does not use dedicated video match officials, which means it does not automatically review match-altering moments. Following their last clubs meeting, the EFL asked for feedback on the proposals, and it became clear that the clubs do not support the implementation of any additional technology. Okay, so that is a lot. That is a lot of information, and I see your guys' comments are coming in. JT is saying, my follow-up question after explaining, do you think FVS as a whole is better than VAR, or would you use it as a combination or altered version of it? Andrew doesn't know what FVS is, but he does now that we have just listened to it. Dave is in the house talking about Stoke. And he is letting Mama Flossie know that yes, he has hit the like button. Neil also didn't know what FVS is. A lot of people haven't heard from him. So I've just read it out to you guys there. I've popped the link here in the chat. I've also popped it in the description of the video. So if after the video, because I'm talking super duper fast, if after the video you want to kind of go and sit at your own pace and sort of go through it and look into it a little bit further, you will be able to do that. JT is saying, I had no idea as well. I read about it a few weeks ago and had to Google what it was. And I have to say, very clearly, guys, it's not that I'm some sort of mystic Meg. Before I read this article, I had no idea. I had never heard of it before in my life, okay? So there's a number of things. The first thing is, the EFL clubs have voted against it, unanimously against it. They do not want it implemented. They don't want any additional technology. I would suggest that they're concerned if they implement a version of VAR via the FVS, that they would then end up with full VAR, and they don't want it. So it's it's a can of worms they would rather not open. So in terms of the EFL clubs not wanting it at all, I can understand that, because I think once you accept some sort of technology into your league, I think it snowballs. However, for those of us that have already got VAR, those that are already lumbered with it in the Premier League, I don't think it's ever going to be completely removed. So that brings us back to JT's follow-up question. Do I think FVS as a whole is better than VAR, or would it be used in a combination or an altered version of it? I personally think it would be better instead. So if you allow, and I suppose you would have to work out what's the best way, but if you maybe allow each manager 2 of these, a review card. So at the start of the match, if you allow two referees. I've read Rob there. Rob has said, Lou, stop. It's too much for my poor brain. Well, apparently it's too much for my brain too. I've stopped being able to put sentences together. So let us take a moment and breathe. Let us just... Harold is saying, I don't want that. I want them to change VAR. And that's a-okie day. I want this. I have decided in my obviously ultimate wisdom, this is much better. What I would like about this is because the likes of the Martinez decision, we could have held up one of our review cards and that could have been reviewed. But again, you're going to need a separate team if that was to be the case. I think for all of these systems, it has to be a separate team no matter what. Because I think no matter what system you introduce, if it's all referees doing it from the same sort of group, it's never going to work. So I think no matter what system you use, you would need a separate team that operates that system. But I have said before on streams that I would like if the referee himself could say to the VAR room, I don't think I saw that properly in real time. I would like to review that myself before I make a decision. Because people are only people. Referees are only people. It's very difficult. Sometimes we see things wrong when we watch it on the TV, and sometimes we have a much better view than them and we see it wrong. And it's only after kind of replay we go, oh yes, I see it. So I think it would be nice for a referee to be able to say to the VAR room, look guys, I'm not 100%, I saw that properly in real time. I would like to review it before I make a decision, and that facility to be available. Obviously not for every tiny decision, but you get what I mean. I think that would be a good thing. Rather than waiting for VAR to tell the referees, you should come and look at this, it would be nice for the referee to be able to say, do you know what, hands up, I didn't see that properly. I would like to look at it again. But this, and kind of what Neil is saying there, how many times can you challenge using FVS in one game? My understanding based on the article is that if it was brought in, it would be one. I don't know if they will even look at it for the Premier League because the EFL have already rejected it, and because we've already got VAR, this might not even be given to us as an option. But that's actually what I'm querying. Why is that not given to us as an option? I think it would be much better. So when you have those really contentious decisions, those really obvious decisions where kind of you see it, managers are screaming at the referee, they're in the fourth official's face. How many managers get yellow and red cards because they're screaming about decisions? So what I would suggest, and again it's a suggestion because I'm only learning about this today, I'll have to look into it much more, but I would suggest if we could give two, if they could give two challenges to each manager, then once they're used up, they're used up. They use this in hockey. So in hockey, you can challenge, ice hockey, you can challenge the referee's decision. It works really well, actually. It's a really good system that they have. It works in conjunction with everything else. It's not instead of everything, but it works incredibly well. You can choose a decision and you can challenge it. And the referee sometimes will stick to their original decision, or sometimes after the review they said, you know what, yeah, fair enough, we're going to change that. And I suppose maybe that's why I'm so in favour of it, because I've seen it work very well in another sport regularly, and it's something that I thought was very good, and I did wonder why we hadn't thought about it in football, and then it turns out, in fact, we have. So, JT says, the research I did on it, if I remember correctly, is 2 challenges. Oh, there you go. And if your challenge ends up being correct, you keep your challenge card. That's good. That is good. I like that. I didn't know that, JT, because as I said, I've literally only found out about it today, so I haven't looked all the way into it. But that would be good. If each manager had 2 challenges per match, it means it wouldn't be overused. It means it wouldn't be by the minutes there's extra checks, but it gives the managers and the players the opportunity, instead of screaming at a fourth official when they might be correct, they have the opportunity to say, okay, no, I feel so strongly about this, I would like if you take a look at it, please. I think as well, I would want the on-field official making the decision. So if a manager says, okay, I'm using my review card, I wouldn't want it to be a VAR official. I would think it might be, and I'm thinking on the fly because I know I said something different 5 minutes ago, but I'm changing my mind as I'm listening to it and as I'm thinking about it. I would probably want the on-field official to look at it, because I think then they don't feel the pressure to change their own decision or to stick to a decision or anything like that. I think it would probably be better if you ask for a review or you use your review card that the on-field official rather than another team. I've thought about it. I've changed my mind. I'm literally thinking about this as we're speaking. Don't go back 5 minutes. I said a different thing. Big up to Sam who's in the house. He says, Uno card for players to give to refs when they give yellow cards. That was on, that was one of those charity matches last year, wasn't it? One of the guys, the comedian, did it. And Sam is in fact preparing himself for tonight. Big up to Sam. That's what I was saying earlier, Sam. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about your team, your result, your financial situation, Cole Palmer, and all sorts of Chelsea. Tomorrow's going to be all Chelsea, Sam. So hopefully we'll see you at 12 o'clock tomorrow. JT is saying, I am in favour of the challenge system, but there was a lot of issues with it that are partly there because of its essence. It is meant to be a budgetary option to VAR. Therefore, I would be in favour of a combination for both. Big up to Jenny, who has joined us in the chat, and she hopes everyone is well. Do you know what? As I said, I literally, I would say not even an hour before the stream, I was looking at this. So I would say, because I'm kind of saying what I think, and then I'm thinking about it more and I'm changing my mind. So if I just pause for a little minute. Okay, breathe. You're literally seeing my opinion change as I'm speaking. But that's good. That's good because you have to be able to be open to things. And JT is making a lot of good points. Okay. So probably yes, in conjunction with VAR would probably be better where you have both. I would still want it to be the on-field referee that reviews it rather than the VAR room. But I can see in conjunction with VAR. I think 2 challenges per manager per match, I think is a reasonable amount. It's not over the top. And I think 1 sometimes is a bit, you hold it back then and you don't use it when maybe you should. So I think 2 is a good one. As I said, it's something that I've seen work in ice hockey. So I think it's a good system. But I saw Harold say earlier, you're still going to have the problem of it's still going to be officials involved. And JT is kind of saying something similar here. You know, sometimes people are oh no, Huge says it. I think the Premier League referees are too arrogant. They won't overturn most decisions. I believe it's best to have a VAR team make a decision on every call, and then if there was a challenge card used, they can use by the VAR. If they made a separate team of VAR officials, then yes, I would agree with that. However, if it's going to continue being the same referees that referee matches that are going to be in the VAR room, I don't think it would matter. At least if it's the official on the pitch. They might, I think, and this is again a theory, an official might be more likely to overrule their own call than their friend will be to overrule them and embarrass them. Because we have actually seen it a few times this season where referees have looked at it and kind of gone, okay, fair enough, hands up, I didn't see that real time, you know, that's life. Whereas their friends in the PGMOL seem reluctant to overrule them. So I think while you have the same referees running VAR and on the pitch, you are more likely to overrule yourself than your friend do it. If, as Huge says, we did end up with a completely separate team running VAR, and then a different team on-field referees, then yes, I would want challenge cards going to VAR. While the current system is in place, I would want challenge cards going to the on-field referee. But I don't understand why we haven't been given the option. I don't understand why it's not a thing. This would be fantastic. I think it would actually resolve a lot of things. A lot of the problems are, right, there's 1 to 2 key decisions in a match that change the match that end up being incorrect. And the thing with VAR is supposedly they cannot intervene unless it's a clear and obvious error. So if they don't deem it to be an obvious error, they technically can't get involved. Even if the decision is wrong, if it's not obviously wrong, if it wasn't obvious, they can't do it. These kind of review challenge cards would do away with that. So FVS it's called. football video system. And as I said, I understand why the Championship and League 1 and League 2 don't want to introduce it, because they just don't want any technology. They understand that if you let it in at all, once you open the door, you can't close it. Eventually, they would end up like that with the same VAR as us, and they don't want it. So I understand that. But for teams that have already got VAR, I think this would be better. I think it would solve a lot of issues. I think it would stop a lot of screaming on the sidelines. I think it would stop a lot of decisions like that have really changed games and cost teams points. I think it's a great system. Maybe that's why we haven't got it, because it's a really good idea. So let me do a poll, guys. Would you want this? I forgot the cat was under the table, and I just felt a thing touching my foot, and I was like, what's under the table? It's the cat. I forgot all about her because she's being so quiet. Would you want this FVS challenge system? Okay, so yes instead of VAR, or yes with VAR, or no thanks. Okay, start poll. Okay, so I would probably want it with VAR and the VAR and the challenge system is probably what I would want. Obviously better VAR, obviously, but you get my point. Rob is reminding everybody, please like the video, and if you're watching, whether it's live, whether it's after the fact, whether we're new to you, whether you kind of watch all the time but you're not a big chatter, please do subscribe. It's massively important. It just helps the channel grow. It tells YouTube that you like the channel, basically, and then it shows it to more people, which is obviously what we want, because who doesn't want a bigger tea party? Yes, and so obviously Streets and Sam are getting stuck in talking about the lineup for Chelsea, and I know that because I see the crap is in the chat. JT says, I think the problem with VAR plus the challenges is that as soon as the referee and VAR team look at it, they'll be reluctant to grant the challenge because it shows they both failed in their decision making. I think some of it would probably hinge on VAR maybe having a separate team. I think VAR should have a separate team, and then I think it could work really, really, really well. But as I said, it's something I've seen in hockey, and it's really worked. It's really worked in hockey. It's not overused. Nobody takes the mick. And sometimes the referee sticks to their decision, and sometimes they say, okay, I got that one wrong. I just needed to look at it again. It's a really good system, and it feels a lot fairer. But I can see so far we have 86% of people are saying yes with VAR, which is obviously something we've talked about kind of extensively here. We've got 14% of people saying no, they wouldn't want it at all. For the people voting no, let me know why, because I think it's great. And so obviously I'm blinded by that because I've read it, I've seen it work in another sport. I think it would solve a lot of the animosity on the sidelines with the fourth officials. It might stop yellow cards being given to some managers. I think it makes it, as I said, in ice hockey, it makes it feel fairer. But I want to know if anybody's saying no, and we're nice in here. Nobody's going to attack you. I'm really curious though. Is it just that VAR is bad enough, you don't want more technology added to it? Is it that you don't think it would make any difference at all? Because like that, the referees are going to be making the decisions anyway, so what's the point in having it? I'm curious. I'm very, very curious. And yes, guys, I see Robin Street saying we dodged a bullet with the lap. Yes, we did. Absolutely 100%. But yeah, I like to talk about both sides of the coin, and obviously I would be very much in favour of this. I think it would be a great idea. So I'm finding it hard to see the no side. So if somebody has the no side, please tell me and I'll read it out. Because I'll always admit when I can't see the other side. A lot of the time I really do try, but sometimes I don't see it. It's not jumping out to me. So if you're saying no, let me know why. Nobody is saying instead of VAR anyway. Nobody is saying instead. So the vast majority, we're up at 89% of people are saying yes, they would take it with VAR, in conjunction with VAR, obviously on the assumption that VAR would be better or would have kind of maybe even its own separate team. But another thing that I just find curious is, other than The Athletic, right? So I found this essentially by accident because I follow The Athletic, and, you know, a lot of the time I do go out of my way to try and find sort of different topics instead of the same. But if I hadn't gone actively looking, I wouldn't have found out about this. Do you know what I mean? And I've not seen any other sort of big content creators talk about it, and maybe it's because it was to do with the English Football League, the EFL, rather than the Premier League. But it all sort of links in eventually, doesn't it? I think it would have been a great idea. I really do. I'm baffled people like that. I'm baffled that it hasn't even been proposed in the Premier League, given all of the challenges that VAR has faced. I'm very confused. But anyway. I shouldn't be confused because I know what the Premier League's like. Guess is saying, slightly off topic, but I also like when the ref is mic'd up. When we get to hear more from the referee, it creates more understanding. This only works if the referee is decent and not an idiot. But the thing is, when we can hear them, at least we can tell if it's an idiotic decision or if they tried to ground it in fact, which is, at least we'll know then. So again, I agree. Sam says The Athletic have been depressing him lately. Yeah, to be fair, I would say most media and social media are depressing you lately with your club, Sam. I mean, it's not as if they've got much good to report about yous at the minute. JT says, for me, the interesting conversation is what are the ways to make VAR work better? Because as you said, one of the big problems is that as soon as the ref is called to the monitor, it's almost guaranteed. And the thing is, it is almost guaranteed because do you remember when that new guy, Halam, the new referee, Harai Halam, is that his name? He went against VAR, so he made an on-field decision. VAR called him over. He looked at it and went, nah, I agree with my original decision. Let's go with that. Everybody was like, oh my God, it's crazy. It was the entire headlines for that whole game week because he was told by VAR to go to the monitor and he didn't just change his mind. He stuck to his decision, which is incredible because that should be a norm. It should be sort of 50-50 sticking and changing your mind. But as JT says, the vast majority is that they just change their mind when they're called over. So either VAR is working super duper well and only calls them over when they've really got it wrong, or people don't want to stand up to VAR. So I think it's option 2. Harold is saying, they shouldn't check every goal, only if it's been a probable foul. Now it feels like they're looking for reasons to disallow a goal. I do want VAR overall, no problem with offsides. I think VAR with do you know, corner kicks, goal kicks, because supposedly that's going to be in the World Cup. I think that would be decent. I think things that like, right, who did it come off last? Is it a corner? Is it a goal kick? I don't like specifically the offside rule, but the fact is they're applying it. It's, okay, well, he's offside or he's not. I think VAR is reasonable for the black and white decisions where there's no grey. I think where the rules allow subjectivity, I think is where you run into problems because the VAR room official and the on-field official might have different opinions, and because it's subjective, neither of them are technically right or wrong, and that's where you run into problems. So like what Harold has followed up there, but if you can't find that it's definitely offside within 20 seconds, then that means no offside. Like there should be time limits on these, because if it's not like obviously offside, then there's no obvious advantage, therefore just let it be onside. So I agree with that 100%. JT says there should be a whole systematic change. Again, I completely agree. 100%. Sam says, who would want to be a referee? Damned if you do, damned if you don't, and mostly because fans can't forget their tribalism. I can understand that 100%. Big up to Jim, who says, very good stream. See you tomorrow. I'm going to chill with the football. My goodness me, it's nearly that time. Enjoy the football, Jim. Hopefully we will have you back with us 12 o'clock tomorrow to discuss the football. JT says, I could imagine like a main referee sits in a studio watching it, bird's eye view with the VAR team feeding him information and the on-field ref feeding him information to make the decision. I really, truly, 100% believe a big proportion of the problems would be eradicated if you simply just had separate teams for VAR and on-field. You can have a team of on-field refs and a team of VAR refs. We've discussed this before after the article came out. The skill set needed to be an on-field official and the skill set needed to be a VAR room official are incredibly different. The skill set required is different. Therefore, you're unlikely to find both skill sets within the same person. They should be recruited separately, trained separately, and work separately. I think if you literally just did that, just start with that, I genuinely believe it would drastically improve. I really, truly believe it would drastically improve. I think when you have done something like that, then you say, okay, now what more can we do? Can we introduce the challenge system? And if we do, who looks at it? Is it VAR? Probably if you've already improved VAR, that would make sense. Is it the VAR team that looks at a challenge call? Probably. But I think the first thing they have to do is just separate it. I don't even know what we're talking about. But all I can see is Rob and Guess having a chat, and all I can see is I fear they're all morons. Oh, you guys have made me giggle. You have made me giggle. Neil is saying, nothing to do with the club you're a fan of, just get the VAR decision right. Exactly correct, Neil. That's what we all want. Harold is saying, I don't think you should forget tribalism, but respect and admit when it's obvious. Completely agree, Harold. And that's kind of the tone I think most of us tend to have in this chat when we do discuss these kind of things. However, I would say we are the unicorn, and I would say that's probably not the norm. Most people, it's not that they can't see it, is that they opt not to if it's about one of their rivals, which is fun sometimes, but for the most part, it just gets irritating because then the wrong decisions are made like consistently. But guys, that was a great conversation. It was a really good chat, really interesting topic. I am going to look into it a little bit more. So there might be a day in the week where we come back to this if I have some more information. But tomorrow we're definitely going to speak about Chelsea. Obviously, I'm off to now watch the match. I'm going to eat some more banana bread. Get fat. I will be back here tomorrow, 12 p.m. Hopefully you guys will be here with me. I will have more information then as well about the stream I'm going to be doing with Stretford Post. I'll probably have a link at that point as well that I can share with you guys. And yeah, so enjoy your evening, enjoy your football, enjoy your dinner if you haven't had it yet. And let me end this poll. So the poll is ending. 9% say yes, they would have it instead of VAR. 9% are saying no thank you at all. 82% of people are saying yes, they would have it in conjunction with VAR, assuming that obviously VAR has been improved. So that is pretty resounding. Sam says yes, let's go and watch the World Champions. I'm sensing some sarcasm. Have a good evening, guys. Thank you all so much. It was a great stream.